Well, so far in the early season, we've seen some teams that have been a surprise. Jared, who do you like as your surprise team so far after a month into the season?
There's a lot of teams you could pick, and I think that that there's one, in my opinion, that really has stood out so far. Now, I don't know about their level of competition. I agree they haven't played the level of competition as some other teams. But the Springville girls team is 5-1, Neil. Do you know how many games they won last year total?
One?
Two.
Two.
Okay. So they've already more than doubled their 250% of what they won last year. If I remember right, they've already won. They're 5-1. That's a very impressive job that Nancy Warner's done with that team. Now, maybe they're not beating up on the best teams, but to go 5-1 at a school that hasn't had a history of winning a lot of games in girls basketball, very, very impressive. Congratulations to the Red Devils. They're doing great.
I've got somebody that trumps that, Jared. Mountain View won one game last year. They've won one game, and they're 6-1. So, I mean, I think what Jeff Gardner's done at Mountain View is a tremendous job. He's a good young coach, the son of Joel Gardner, who is just a great man and a good coach as well. What they've done, you can argue schedule or not, but I'm sorry, they've still won 6 games. I mean, it's amazing that they've been able to turn it around. I'll give you another team, too. I like the way Springville, you talked about the girls, the boys have played. I mean, they may not be 6-1. They've lost some tough games. The Spanish Fork game, look at who they played.
Yeah, they played a tough schedule.
They could have beat Spanish. They got a little bit ripped off in the Spanish game with the last-second shot.
Well,
they played Pleasant Grove pretty good. I mean, that's a top 5A team. So I like Springville. I really like the way Mountain View's turned it around as well.
Well, and one of the things both Mountain View boys and the Springville girls that I notice is both of these teams are trying to establish a bit of a culture of winning that they haven't had for the last couple of years. Now, Mountain View was really good a few years ago. I think they started 9-1 back in 04 or 05, something like that. But they're trying to reestablish that. And if it takes beating up on some teams that, maybe aren't as good, do it, because you need your kids getting used to winning. Yeah. I like what both programs are doing. Well, this is the time of year that a lot of the basketball teams, both boys and girls, are headed to out-of-state tournaments. They're going all over the country. So, Neil, I got to ask you, if you could go to any of these tournaments, where would you be heading this next couple of weeks?
Aloha! I'll tell you, I'd be going to Hawaii with
Shocking.
Tim. I'll tell you, the time that I did, and we don't get a chance to travel to many of these tournaments at the paper, but the time that I did, I went to the Maui tournament with Provo, and it was the highlight of my life. It was awesome. I got to see basketball. I got to be around the team, of course, do other activities. It was just a lot of fun, and I would love to be able to do that. And maybe for Christmas next year, I'll ask for a ticket to go cover one of those. I don't think that that will be under my Daily Herald.
The travel budget might not
Christmas tree, but you know what? I'd to the point almost where I'd pay for it myself. It's a lot of fun. There's a ton of good tournaments to go to. It'd be fun to be able to go, even if don't have anyone on the team. It'd be fun for me. I'd like to go to that Palm Springs tournament and see Pleasant Grove play.
There's just a lot of fun tournaments, and a lot of these teams show really well at these tournaments. One I'm excited about is the New Mexico tournament that they're putting together with Lone Peak and a couple of more top 50 teams from, I think it's a four-team tournament, and 3 of them are ranked in the top 50 in the nation. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Well, and one of them's in the top 5, so it's really going to give Lone Peak a good opportunity to show how they match up with some other teams. And traditionally, teams have done pretty well. I mean, Provo, when they went back, or Timpview, when they went back to Slam Dunk at the beach, I mean, I remember them coming back and talking about how they played Dwight Howard. I mean, this is an opportunity. And Provo, when they went to Hawaii and did so well in the Aloha tournament on the Big Island, I think it was, in Honolulu. But, I mean, they're playing players that are in the NBA, just incredible opportunities to play top teams around the country. It's cool.
There's a lot of cool opportunities. I think competition-wise, that New Mexico tournament would probably be my first choice, but my second would probably be right up there, and that would be going to the Nike tournament with all the girls teams. The best teams from the country
always wanted to go
there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing dozens of games. They've got all the different divisions. It would have been really fun, I think, back when Mountain View was competing at the top level down there. I think that would be a really fun tournament to go to as well and see the best girls basketball in the nation, as well as going to some of these boys tournaments.
Yeah. Well, last week the Daily Herald came out with their annual wrestling previews, Jared, and once again it looks like Utah Valley has a strong contingent of teams to compete for the titles. Who do you like this year? Who as you're going through those previews, who impresses you? Who do you think will be good?
Well, I'm looking at Region 4 right now. We'll talk Region 7 in just a second.
Right.
But in Region 4, I got to go Spanish Fork. Wasatch Duels. This shows you how good Spanish Fork is. They went up against Mountain Crest, who's the juggernaut in 4A. They returned 17 wrestlers, I believe, from their state title team last year. Spanish Fork beat them. So, in my opinion, Spanish Fork's the team to beat in Region 4 this year. They're very deep, very talented. Have a lot of wrestlers in a lot of different weight classes that are going to be competing for places at the state tournament when it comes up in February. And that's the key to being able to win a tournament, is placing a lot of wrestlers in a lot of places.
Yeah, after a couple of down years for Spanish Fork, it looks like they're back. They won back-to-back titles a few years ago. This is a program that's consistently been good, and it's no surprise to see them back again.
Well, and there's a couple others that they got to watch out for. I thought Lone Peak was going to be very good, but Lone Peak's a bit on the ropes. They lost to Pleasant Grove, a young Pleasant Grove team. Now they're going to go wrestle a duel against Spanish Fork. They could easily be 0-2 early on in the year. But I think Lone Peak's still pretty good. PG's really coming on strong. Yeah. Brock Moore always has his kids ready to wrestle. You know that by the end of the year they're going to be right there. And Lehigh moving up to 5A. Don't be surprised if the Pioneers get a couple of these good teams, because they are deep and talented as well. Now, we talked about Region 4, but Region 7 also lost a lot of very good wrestlers from last year. Neil, what do you think about the 4A, the possibilities for 4A teams this season?
Well, I think you got to like Payson and Springville so far. I think the rest of the region is down a little bit. So I expect those two teams to kind of pull away and establish themselves as the teams to beat.
Well, I agree with you. And now Springville's got Jason Chamberlain and they had another wrestler who has won a couple of years in a row, and his name escapes me right now. Now, they lost some of their other depth that I thought gave them a really good chance to win 4A last year, weren't able to get past Mountain Crest, which, again, very good team. That's going to be really tough for any of these teams to beat when they get to the state tournament. But I think it's between Spanish Fork and Payson to be the best team in this region. Payson's got a lot of really talented wrestlers this year. They were young last year. They gave Springville a run for their money. I think they even beat them at a couple of the tournaments early on in the year. Weren't able to keep that going during region competition. But Payson's going to be very good again this season.